Whisper of the hidden grove. The echo returns. It began again with the wind, the same sound that once carried his name, soft, distant, trembling against the silence. I told myself it was nothing, just autumn finding its voice. But deep inside, I knew what it was. Arion. It had been 6 months since that night, the night the veil breathed and he disappeared into light. I'd stopped going to the forest after that. At least, I thought I had. But every evening, I found myself walking the edge of the trees, as if some invisible thread was still pulling me there. I didn't say his name, not aloud, but the air, it remembered. That night, when the wind came again, it whispered, clear enough to make me freeze. Lena. The voice was his, faint, and I swear, for a second, the world tilted. I ran. The path was slippery, covered in wet leaves, but my heart didn't care. The moon was pale and hollow above me, and every sound, every breath echoed his name. When I reached the river, the air turned colder. The water was calm, too calm. And then I saw it, a shimmer, right where we had stood months ago. A faint line of silver light hovered above the water, bending and breathing like a wound trying to close. I took one step closer. The light rippled. And for a heartbeat, I saw him. Not whole, not clear, just his outline. His eyes, silver as moonlight, staring back at me through the shimmer. My heart stopped. He lifted his hand. And then, darkness. The light vanished, swallowed by the night. I fell to my knees, the cold biting into my skin. But before the silence returned, the wind carried one last echo. Don't let them find me. Then nothing. When I woke up the next morning, I was in my bed. My hands smelled faintly of river water, my cheek tingled as if brushed by static, and outside my window, a single silver leaf lay pressed against the glass. It hadn't fallen from any tree I knew. For 3 days, I tried to convince myself it was a dream, that I hadn't heard his voice, that I hadn't seen his eyes staring through the river like a ghost trapped between breaths. But the world didn't agree. The morning after, the air felt different, heavy, restless. The trees outside my window bent toward the east, though there was no wind. The clocks in town began to stutter. Seconds stretched, then snapped back into place. And every night, the river glowed faintly, as if swallowing the moonlight and refusing to let it go. People noticed. They whispered in shops and at school. Someone said their child woke up crying, saying, "The silver boy won't stop calling me." Another claimed to see footprints on the water's edge that disappeared when they tried to follow them. I stayed quiet, but inside me, something stirred. The scar on my cheek, the one Arion had healed, began to burn again. Not in pain, but like it was remembering. And each time it pulsed, I heard a faint hum in the air. That night, I went back to the river. It was different now. Deeper, darker. The reflection didn't match the sky. Above me, stars shimmered. Below, silver light coiled under the surface like veins. I stepped closer, whispering, "Arion, if you can hear me." The water answered. It rose, rippling upward like a living thing, forming shapes, movements, and a face, his face. But his eyes were closed, and his mouth was open as if gasping for breath. I reached out, but the surface shattered. The light surged upward, wrapping around my arm, cold as ice. It burned and soothed at the same time, and then, in the glow, I saw something else. Flashes. A vast forest with trees made of glass. A throne of light, cracked down the middle, and a group of elven figures kneeling in darkness, whispering a single name. Not Arion. Lena. I stumbled back, heart racing, the vision breaking apart like smoke. The water fell still again, but the ground beneath my feet trembled softly. I looked down. The soil had split open, a thin silver glow leaking through it. The veil wasn't just opening, it was bleeding. The mist returned with the rain. Soft, endless, and cold enough to make the whole town feel like it was holding its breath. I was walking home from the library when I saw him, standing beneath the flickering streetlight, soaked, still, watching the world like it was foreign. And for a moment, I forgot how to breathe. Silver eyes, not as bright as Arion's, but close, too close. He noticed me staring. Our eyes met, and something inside me tightened. Recognition mixed with fear. He tilted his head slightly, as if trying to remember where he'd seen me before. "Are you lost?" I asked, my voice trembling. He blinked slowly. The rain slid down his face, glinting in the lamplight. "I think it used to be..." He stopped, frowned. "No, that's not it anymore." Something cracked inside me. I wanted to run, I wanted to scream, but instead I said, "You should come in. You'll get sick out here." He followed without a word. Inside, the air felt heavy, almost charged. He looked around my small house like every object was new to him. The ticking clock, the books on the table, the faint hum of the fridge. When I gave him a towel, his fingers brushed mine. They were cold, the same cold that had once burned like light. He looked at me, studying my face. "Your scar, it glows." I froze. "What?" He reached out, and for a second, I saw it too, a faint silver shimmer tracing the healed line on my cheek. "I've seen that before, in a dream." I stepped back. "Who are you?" He closed his eyes, like the answer hurt to remember. When he opened them again, he whispered, almost pleading, "Tell me what the name Arion means to you." The world spun. The lights flickered. And then, somewhere outside, the river roared, louder than it had ever had before. Dreams were no longer silent. They called to me, as if someone whispered my name through the fog. Each time I closed my eyes, I walked the same place, a path glowing over still water, silver as the moon's reflection. Arion once told me, "There is a road between our worlds. Only those whose hearts awaken can see it." Back then, I thought it was just a myth. Now, every night, I found myself on that path. In my dream, I walked across the shining water. The air hummed softly, full of quiet warmth. Around me shimmered a forest of silver leaves, the kind no human had ever seen. And somewhere, far away, a voice was singing, familiar, aching, calling me closer. "Lena!" Every time I heard it, the dream broke, dragging me back into the dark. One night, I woke up breathless. The boy, the strange one who now stayed in my house, was lying awake, staring at the ceiling. But his eyes were open, glowing faintly in the dark. "You saw it too, didn't you?" I whispered. He turned his head slowly. "Yes, the silver path." "Then you..." "I am not Arion," he said, his voice heavy, almost broken. "But his light passes through me. He sent me here." "Sent you? Why?" He hesitated, then said quietly, "He bound you to him through the mark on your face. That scar, it's not just skin. It carries his protection, and it led me to you. My hand rose to the scar without thinking. Underneath it, my heartbeat matched something else, a faint rhythm, pulsing like a second heart. I can take you there, to the place where our worlds touch. The silver path is open only for you. Arion's spirit waits beyond it. I didn't answer right away. Fear and longing twisted inside me, tangled like vines. Finally, I looked at him and whispered, "When do we leave?" At dawn. The moon lights the path, but the dawn opens the gate. When the first light broke the horizon, we walked. Mist rose from the fields, erasing the line between earth and sky. I felt something deep inside, a certainty that this time there would be no return. The forest was still when we arrived. No birds sang, no wind moved the leaves. It felt as if the world itself was holding its breath, waiting. He led me to a lake, the same one I had seen in my dreams. Its surface shone like glass, untouched and perfect. The air around it shimmered with quiet energy, and I could feel something ancient. "This is it," he said. "The gate." I looked around, confused. "But it's just water." He smiled faintly. "So it seems. But this lake remembers what humans forget, that not everything real must be seen." He stepped forward, knelt by the water, and took out a small vial. Inside was a thick silver liquid that pulsed like a living thing. He opened it carefully and poured it into his hand. The glow spread across his palm, crawling up his arm like veins of light. "What is that?" I asked. He didn't answer. Instead, he pressed his glowing hand against the scar on my face. The warmth struck deep, not pain, but something older, sharper. It was like a memory waking up. In an instant, the lake erupted with light. Waves of silver and gold rolled outward, painting the air in ripples. And then I saw it. The path. The silver path. The same one from my dreams, now real before my eyes. "Arion once walked this road," he said softly. "Now you must." He offered his hand. But before I could take it, something else stirred in the forest. A whisper, a shadow, a movement too fast to see. He froze. "They found us," he whispered. "Who?" "The wardens, guardians of the gate. They can't let a human pass." Before I could speak, a shape emerged from the mist. Tall, graceful, eyes burning with blue fire. It looked at me, then at him, and said something in a language that wasn't human. He stepped between us. "She carries his mark," he said. "She has the right." The creature tilted its head, studying me. Then, in a voice that cut like cold glass, it said, "Then she must prove it." The ground trembled. The air split, and from the lake shadows began to rise, figures made of water and light, circling us like silent judges. He turned to me, his eyes fierce and desperate. "Lena, whatever happens, don't look away. The gate only opens for those who face what they fear most." I swallowed hard, my hands trembling. The air crackled with unseen power. The gate was alive, and it was watching me. Then everything went white. When the light faded, I was alone. The lake, the boy, the forest, everything was gone. Only the silence remained, vast and echoing, like the inside of a dream that had forgotten its dreamer. I looked down. Beneath my feet stretched the silver path, endless and trembling with soft light. It felt alive, as though it was waiting for me to move. So I walked. Each step carried whispers. Some called my name. Others repeated the words I feared most. He lied to you. I didn't know whose voice it was, my own or something older. Ahead, the mist parted. A figure stood in the glow. Arian. Not the boy from the forest, but the real Arian. His eyes were filled with sorrow and light. "Lena," he said gently, "you came." I froze. "You're alive?" He smiled faintly. "Alive, no, but not gone either. The path keeps what the world loses." He reached out his hand, and the air shimmered between us. "I wanted to see you once more, to thank you for carrying my mark." I touched the scar on my face. I whispered, "It was you. You gave it to me." He nodded. "It was the only way to protect you. The wardens would have erased you if they'd known you saw me that night." My chest tightened. "Then the boy is what's left of me," Arion finished. "A shard of my soul. He carries my purpose and my feelings for you." The truth hit me like a storm. The boy wasn't just someone sent to guide me. He was Arion, or at least the part that loved me. "Why didn't you tell me?" I whispered. "Because you needed to love him as himself, not as a memory." His voice softened. "And because love that survives death must be reborn, not remembered." I felt tears burn in my eyes. "Then what is this? Why am I here?" "The gate tests the heart," he said. "To open it, you must choose. One truth, one pain, one love." The light around him began to break apart, scattering like silver dust. "If you choose to return," he said, "you'll forget this place and me. And if I stay, then you'll live in the light forever, but never again in the world of men." The choice stood before me, heavy as fate. Behind me, I felt the pull of life, my home, my world, the boy waiting in the forest. Before me, Arion, the spirit I loved, the impossible promise. The silver path trembled beneath my feet, and the gate began to open. The air grew heavy, thick with light, thick with silence. The silver path beneath me began to fade, as if it too was waiting for my decision. My chest ached with a weight I couldn't name. Arion's eyes, calm, infinite, watched me. "The world you came from will forget you," he said. "But your heart will not forget what it was given." Behind me, another voice rose from the mist, familiar, desperate. It was him, the boy. "Lena." I turned. He stood on the edge of the path, his face pale, his hand reaching out. The light flickered between us, struggling to keep both worlds apart. "You can't stay there," he said. "That place isn't meant for the living." I stared at him. He looked the same, yet different. The glow in his eyes burned stronger now, as if part of him was breaking apart just to hold me here. "I saw him," I said quietly. "Arion. He told me who you are." He flinched, then nodded, pain shadowing his face. "Yes, I am what's left of him. His heart, his guilt." "Then everything you said, everything you did, it was real," he cut in sharply. "Every word, every moment. He may have loved you first, but I love you now." His voice cracked on the last word, and for a moment I saw both of them, the spirit and the boy, overlapping like two halves of a broken soul. The gate pulsed behind me, its light swallowing the horizon. Arion stepped closer, his voice softer now, echoing through both of them. "Lena, all love is a bridge, but no bridge stands forever." The boy reached out, trembling. "Please, come back. Don't let the past keep you." My mind split between two truths, the one who had saved me and the one who had stayed, the one who loved me from beyond and the one who loved me despite everything. The silver path shivered beneath my feet. Its end glowed, one side fading into gold daylight, the other to eternal white. Arion's form began to dissolve. The boy's tears caught the light. And I chose. I ran. Not toward light, not toward shadow, but toward him, toward the one who still breathed. The gate screamed, the world cracked open, and the last thing I heard was Arion's voice fading into the wind. Then let it be reborn. When I opened my eyes, dawn was breaking. The boy was beside me, gasping, shaking. The mark on my face, gone. In its place, a faint silver glow lingered beneath the skin, fading with each heartbeat. He looked at me, eyes wet with disbelief. "You came back," he whispered. I smiled faintly. "So did you." And as the first light touched the lake, I realized the gate hadn't closed. It had only changed shape. The dawn felt wrong. The air was too still, the sky too pale, as if the world had exhaled and forgotten to breathe again. We stood by the lake in silence. Its surface no longer reflected the sky. Instead, it showed another image, a silver forest trembling beneath a shattered moon. He saw it too. "Something's broken," he whispered. I turned to him. "What do you mean?" He didn't answer, but the glow under his skin, the same faint silver that once belonged to Urian, began to pulse erratically, like a heartbeat gone wild. He stumbled back, clutching his chest. "Lena, the gate, it didn't close when you returned. It followed you." A sharp chill ran through me. The wind carried whispers, fragments of a language I couldn't understand. And then, from the lake, a voice rose. Soft, haunting, familiar. Urian's voice. "You chose life, and in doing so, you carried light into the dark." The surface of the lake rippled violently. Shapes began to rise from it, not spirits, not people, but distortions of both. Half-formed elves, their faces split by silver light, their eyes hollow. He grabbed my hand. "They're echoes," he said. "Fragments of the gate drawn to you. Can't we stop it?" He shook his head. "Not unless the connection is broken, the scar, or what's left of it." I touched my cheek. The faint glow there pulsed in rhythm with the creatures, calling them. He took a step closer, his hand trembling. "If I destroy it, you'll lose everything that ties you to him, the dreams, the mark, even the memory. And if we don't, then this world will fall into theirs, the moon will shatter completely, and the boundary will die." I looked at the lake, the broken reflection of the moon, the gathering shapes, the chaos. Then at him, the boy who was once part of another world, now breaking apart just to stay in mine. "Do it," I whispered. He hesitated. "Lena, do it." He raised his hand. The air shivered. A beam of silver light struck my face, searing, burning, and for a moment I saw everything. The silver path collapsing, Irion's eyes closing for the last time, and the boy standing in both worlds, tearing himself apart so that I could exist. Then it was over. The light faded. The lake went still. The echoes vanished. He fell to his knees, trembling, half his body still glowing faintly. "Are you okay?" I asked, kneeling beside him. He smiled weakly. "You're free now." I reached for him, but his hand was already turning to light. "No!" I whispered. Not again. He looked up at me, eyes filled with the same warmth Irion once had. Love isn't lost. It just changes shape. And with that, he was gone. The lake shimmered once more, showing no reflection at all. Only the empty sky and a broken moon slowly fading from sight.
Days passed, or maybe weeks. Time had lost its shape. The lake no longer glowed, the forest was quiet again, and the world, at least what remained of it, seemed whole. But inside me, there was an echo, a pulse without a heart. Sometimes at night, I would wake to a faint shimmer on the wall, the same silver light that once lived beneath my skin. It faded before I could touch it, like memory, like breath. People in town said the storms had stopped. The strange lights in the sky were gone. They called it peace. But I knew better. Peace wasn't silence. It was what came after everything else had spoken. One evening I returned to the lake. The air smelled of rain and new grass. The moon, or what was left of it, hung low, cracked but still shining. I stood by the water, waiting. For what? I didn't know.
And then a ripple. Small, soft, spreading outward. The surface shimmered faintly. Not silver this time, but gold. Warm, human gold. I knelt. A whisper drifted through the wind. Every world keeps its echoes, Lena. The voice was neither Arion's nor the boy's. It was something in between. A memory reborn. A promise reshaped. When light leaves, it doesn't die. It finds new places to shine. A tear slipped down my cheek. I smiled. The wind carried the reflection away, leaving only still water. And for the first time, I didn't feel lost. I turned away from the lake and walked toward the rising dawn. The world behind me slept. The path ahead, unwritten. But somewhere, deep within the quiet light, I knew he hadn't disappeared. He had simply become part of everything that still lived. The trees, the wind, the warmth on my skin, and maybe the part of me that could still love.